Stugotz here for Blue Apron. Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. I love Blue Apron. For less than $10 per person per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Choose from a variety of new recipes each week, like miso butter salmon and lo mein noodles with cucumber and charmed tomatoes, or let Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year, so you'll never get bored. Customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has several delivery options so you can choose what fits your needs. And there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Stugotz. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Football season's almost here, and DraftKings, the leader in one-week fantasy sports, is giving you a shot to be crowned the first-ever fantasy football billionaire. Draft the perfect lineup week 1, and you could win $1 billion. Just use code HUDDLE to play in DraftKings' free Week 1 contest with $100,000 in total guaranteed prizes. And if you draft the perfect lineup, you can win $1 billion. It's free. Why wouldn't you try? DraftKings.com, code HUDDLE. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
We will be talking about the fight, I suspect, a lot during the show today. I can't wait to start making fun of Stugotz about some of the things that happened with the fight and last week. In fact, because I can't wait, let's just get to that. We'll get to Giancarlo Stanton, 50 homers in a second.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, Jarvis Landry, all that stuff. But I was having the conversation, Mike. This is dead serious. This is stuff that was happening with Stugotz, because Stugotz is... It's very hard to explain whether Stugotz is a very hard worker or lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Mike? Like, it's hard to explain because when he works hard, he works hard.
Absolutely.
But he's always looking for the shortcut.
Yep. Who isn't?
And he's as the guy who's always killing Kevin Durant for looking for the shortcut. But last week, Stugotz was just mumbling, muttering, I got to stay up late Saturday night. How am I going to make it? How am I going to possibly? And then I got to get up early Sunday morning. And so I say to him, but Stugotz, you're going to have the rare opportunity of first access to all the takes.
Yep.
You're going to have the Sunday morning show. You don't have to wait for everybody else and see what you can steal. You could just get in there and start taking right away. And so that was something that created some enthusiasm within him when he's like, oh, yeah, I'll be the first one out there with opinions in the morning off of an event that happened late Saturday night.
It is rare on that show where Mike and I, at Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning, actually have a major sporting event to react to and be the first voices you hear in regards to that sporting event, and that's what we had on Sunday morning. It was exciting.
Right, and so it's exciting, but Mike, the part that he's not mentioning is all he did was play Stephen A. Smith sound the entire show. I just came in here.
Why wouldn't you?
I cannot blame him.
Thank you. Listen, in my defense, what happened was we were the first voices. I gave some opinions. At like 8 o'clock or just after 8, we're an hour into the show, someone on Twitter had sent us that sound, and I realized that sound was better than the sound that was coming out of my mouth or Mike Golick Jr.'s mouth. So I played the sound, and I didn't stop playing that sound.
Which did you like best? So he got into a fight with Teddy Atlas. They were arguing about whether it was fast food or filet mignon. Just let's see what we've got here. Teddy Atlas went right back at him until his face got red and crazed.
McGregor forced a gourmet chef to be a fast order cook. That's what he did. He forced a gourmet chef to be a guy.
But doesn't that make it fast food? I mean, doesn't that make it fast food? Instead of a la carte steak? That's what I'm saying.
He made him go in there.
Listen.
And he made him flip cheeseburgers.
Listen.
He made him
there we go.
He made him do something.
Hold on, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy.
But his character allowed him still to walk the guy down.
Wait a minute, Teddy. What I'm saying to you is this. If you go to a restaurant to get some steak, some filet mignon, and instead you get a burger, Okay, ain't it a burger? I mean, it's just a burger. That's what we saw tonight. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He made the adjustment to be what he had to be. He had to be that.
I mean, just gibberish.
Yep. Entertaining gibberish,
It
though.
is. I can't dispute that.
Yep.
I can't. That's just two guys. I've talked to Eddie Atlas enough. Those are two guys who are equals in terms of my turn.
Yeah.
That's Stephen A. Smith ran into his match in terms of no. I will finish my thought, even if it's 4 minutes after I've started it.
That is a great tandem. Over the weekend, ESPN announced a partnership with Top Rank Boxing, which means there's going to be a lot of good boxing matches on ESPN, which hopefully means just more Teddy Atlas and Stephen A. screaming about burgers.
Yes.
You can't get enough of those two guys just sitting there yelling at each other. Teddy Atlas can talk. Teddy Atlas, we've had in the history of 3 interviews that just wouldn't shut up. Teddy Atlas was one of them. Just went for 40 minutes of interview, and I asked 3 questions.
Right.
And so Teddy Atlas is Stephen A. Smith, a little older. Teddy Atlas in his prime was something to behold in terms of talking. Teddy Atlas, he's a little slower now, but he was not having Stephen A. Smith. That's just what I'm saying. It was a hamburger. He was not having it. He had to come back over the top on it.
I would also say that no one has ever said filet mignon better than Stephen A. Smith just said it. That's the best I've ever heard anyone say those 2 words, man.
Well,
filet mignon.
You have heard me say before that Stephen A. Smith says nothing well, and that is not to say that he always says nothing. It is to say that whatever he's saying, he always says it well.
McGregor forced a gourmet chef to be a fast order cook. That's what he did. He forced a gourmet chef to be a guy.
But doesn't that make it fast food? I mean,
it does.
Doesn't that make it fast food?
That's
Instead of
exactly
a la
what
carte
it does.
steak? That's what I'm saying.
He made him go in there.
Listen.
And he made him flip cheeseburgers.
Listen,
he made him
there
go
we
on.
go.
He made him do something.
Whoa.
That he
Hold on,
doesn't
Teddy.
normally do.
Hold on, Teddy.
But his character
Teddy,
allowed him
Teddy.
still to walk the guy
Wait a
down.
minute, Teddy. Wait a minute, Teddy. What I'm saying to you is this. If you go to a restaurant to get some steak, some filet mignon, and instead you get a burger. Okay, ain't it a burger? I mean, it's just a burger. That's what we saw tonight. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He made the adjustment to be what he had to be. He had to be that.
All right, Stugotz, this is what I want you to do. I want you to imagine metaphorically that Teddy Atlas, the old boxing trainer, he used to be, for a while, trained Mike Tyson. I want you to imagine verbally what we're playing here. I want you to imagine Teddy Atlas as the heavy bag.
Right.
And I want you to imagine Stephen A. Smith as the speed bag.
Okay.
Because what you have, Teddy's a little slower.
Yes.
So Teddy's just hitting the bag on the side. And then Stephen A. comes in with the. So I want you to imagine it all this way. So this is Teddy Atlas just hitting the bag on the side, but he's getting mad because Stephen A. is hitting him in the face with the speed bag, and all of it is just counter gibberish.
McGregor forced a gourmet chef to be a fast order cook.
Hitting it on the side.
That's what he did. He forced a gourmet chef to be a guy.
But doesn't that make it fast food? I mean, you
it does.
Doesn't that make it fast food?
That's
Instead of a
exactly
la
what it
carte
does.
steak? That's what I'm saying.
He made him go in there.
Listen.
And he made him flip cheeseburgers. He made him go on. He made him do something.
Hold on, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy.
But his character allowed him still to walk the guy down.
Wait a minute, Teddy. What I'm saying to you is this. If you go to a restaurant to get some steak, some filet mignon, and instead you get a burger. Okay, ain't it a burger? I mean, it's just a burger. That's what we saw tonight. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He made the adjustment to be what he had to be. He had to be that.
They agree.
Yeah. I've heard that clip 3 times now. I have no idea what they're talking about. What's the analogy?
It's just a burger.
Who cares?
Are they actually arguing about burgers?
I think what they're talking about is because a professional was fighting an amateur, the professional was made to look like an amateur. He had to go and tailor his style, and he was, and so Floyd Mayweather made a good hamburger. out of Conor McGregor's face.
But isn't it still just a burger?
It is just a burger.
Yeah.
That's all
Now
he
I
was saying.
understand.
That's all he was saying. It's
just
just
a burger.
It's actually perfect.
Now, what's great about, or one of the things that's great about that gibberish is they don't appear to disagree. They seem to be in perfect alignment,
Yes.
even as they sound like they're arguing.
Right. It's amazing. It's a great trick by both of them.
Yeah.
They're in agreement, yet it sounds like they're debating something.
Whoa, hold on, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy.
But his character
so Teddy, hold on, Teddy.
still to walk
Wait
the guy down.
Wait a minute, Teddy.
They're not disagreeing about anything. Anyway, we'll get back to the fight in a second. But Guillermo,
Yeah. Right there.
Hello.
yes, beating up on the San Diego Padres.
Oh, here we go. The urinator.
Yeah,
What? I'm bringing you in with enthusiasm.
You fake enthusiasm, Dan. You know what? I think you're mad about this weekend. I think you're upset that you're wrong again. You wanted to come in and say, "See, guys, they lost to the Padres. They're a bad team. Now they're 7.5 back," and you're wrong.
I didn't want to do any of that.
You did want to do that.
I felt like you
wanna
did
do that.
too.
You don't want to support this team. You don't want to get behind them. I don't get it. What's your problem?
He's more loud.
You are more loud.
Let me ask you a couple of questions here, because
Fine.
I am. You will not let me on the bandwagon, but I'd be perfectly happy being on the bandwagon.
No.
I just okay.
Okay,
Whoa.
fine. Wait. One time. This is the one time.
they
right,
We'll
Dan?
ask you again.
They're not catching Colorado. They're not catching Colorado.
Dan.
Colorado's better than they
Dan.
are.
Have you even looked at the schedule? You know that they play
A
the
lot of easy
Rockies.
games.
No, they play the Rockies and the Diamondbacks the last week of the season.
Right.
Yep.
So it's in their control. They just have to maintain like 3 games back, and they can get in the playoffs realistically. So you more in, you more out.
I'm Marl out.
Oh, wow.
But I want to ask you guys.
That's it. No more opportunities.
no more chances.
All right, we gave them one on
Last
Friday, and
chance.
today's the last chance.
You know what I
Train
was,
left the station.
you know what I was thinking? I don't think anyone's embraced this team the way our show has embraced this team. Do you think that's fair?
That's fair.
No, I think that's myopic. But go ahead.
I don't think I think it's without an argument. We've embraced this team like no one else, and I feel like we've gotten some energy, some enthusiasm around this team that wasn't there before. Do
We
you
put
agree
him
with
back
that?
in it. We put him back in it.
Well, we definitely have fans going to the stadium.
Guillermo.
Dan, you agree with that?
Yeah. See the crowds this
Hold on,
weekend,
hold on,
Dano?
hold on.
Yeah. Oh my
Teddy,
God,
Teddy,
the
hold
energy
on,
was
hold on,
so
hold on,
great.
Big time.
Oh, wait.
What, Dan?
You're alleging our show has been more behind this team than anyone.
Correct.
And I will remind you that the last time I planned anything around this was a parade to dishonor the Marlins the moment that Jeffrey Loria officially sells the team and is out of town. Those plans are in place. Mike has been going to commissioners' meetings and mayor's meetings and licensing meetings. And so that in October, whenever this becomes official, we are having a parade.
Remember, we pivoted.
Yeah.
It's a parade to celebrate
That's
new
what I meant.
ownership.
The sale, yeah. We're honoring
That's
them.
what I meant. That's what I meant. Right.
So we've gotten behind this team. What other shows have planned parades for this team, might I ask? Dan?
Yep. Name one.
Nobody.
Exactly. So I think it's only natural that the team should invite us. Like, we should have a day where all our listeners can go and celebrate the Marlins with us at the game.
Great idea.
Don't you think? Like, I'll throw out the first pitch, obviously. And then you guys could call an inning or two like you did before. And I think it'll be great. Allison can sing the national anthem.
Yes.
Roy take me out to the ball game. Don't you think this would be fun? We can make it like a charity thing if that's what we need to do. But like, it'll be fun. We should do this.
What should I do?
We've done it.
No, but we should do it now. They're in the hunt now, guys. Not when Dan Uggla was running around at second base.
What would I do?
Ozzie Martinez playing shortstop. This team. You don't think so, Dan?
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you. When's Bohr back?
He's coming back. Don't worry about
The
that,
Portobello
Dan.
Crush
He's
Room?
close, man.
The
Yeah.
Portobello
Close,
Crush
yeah.
Room, you mean?
Yeah,
tell you in a
we
second.
don't need to worry about that, Dan.
I'm so mad that he missed Players Weekend because on the back of his jersey for sure would have been Portobello Crush Room. Yep.
No. His nickname was Papito. I don't even understand that. Why don't they accept our support?
Yeah.
Like, we gave them all nicknames. They all have nicknames. Almost everyone on this team has a nickname that we've given them, and none of them use those.
Jelly.
What's that about? I have a new nickname for Tyler Moore. I'm
do you
trying to
got?
figure it out.
What is it?
I was thinking Mary, but now I'm thinking maybe Mayor, just because then Mary Tyler Moore. What do you think? Mary
I
Tyler
like it.
Moore.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good one. Tymo is like, it's okay. But,
Yeah, this is better.
Mayor. What do you think? Mayor. Mayor playing first base. We don't need Portobello Crush Room back just yet.
Yep, rest up for the playoffs. He has begun baseball activities.
There you
Justin
go.
Bohr. Yeah. Should return this season, it says. Take your time, Justin.
All right.
No, but even if he doesn't take his time, Dan, that's like a trade we got. Look, we got Portobello Crushroom back. Yep. Maybe Chen will come back. Who knows with him? Literally, who knows with him? What's going on?
This is one of the many reasons that I don't like these Marlins conversations. One of the many.
Because you want them to lose and they're not. Yeah. They're winning.
Is because when I ask you an innocent question that was just a curiosity, that was, when is Bohr back? I didn't have anything other than a question because I don't know the answer to it. Guillermo's response, as it is to anything I ask him about this team, is, don't worry your pretty little head about that. Like he's tapping me on the head and having me run along like a 1950s movie, the way that a man would treat the trophy wife during a different time if the trophy wife were an idiot. You're like tapping me on the head. Don't worry your pretty little head about that. And then you try to move the conversation to whatever it is you want to talk about.
It's not that. It's that I just see how anxious and nervous this team makes you with all these injuries. And it's like, just calm down. We got this. Look at this depth on this team.
Yep.
Just keep putting people in,
what
plugging
I was
holes.
going
We're
to
good.
ask you in relation to Bohr, and specifically the problems that I think will be their undoing over the next month when they don't have enough at the top of their rotation. What I wanted to ask you guys is, did management yet again betray this team, not just by trading Phelps and Ramos, but not getting them any help for this run because the guy they're playing at first base is not a major leaguer? And so why couldn't you get 6 weeks of somebody to sit in until Bohr got back, because Bohr was giving you a Stanton-type season? The guy they're playing at first base is not a Major League Baseball player. Why are they doing that?
Right, but it's hard. Like, if they're going to make a trade, right, you wouldn't want an offensive player. You'd want a pitcher. That's maybe
But I'm
what
saying
disappointed
both of them.
you. Right.
Like I'm saying, they were trading pieces away. They were not. They're surprised.
It's hard to see this run coming,
They're
man.
surprised by this.
Not for everyone.
They're surprised by this, and I'm not sure how much they believe in this, because you got to go get them that help. Like, why wouldn't you go get them that help if you had any imagination that this could be so? And instead, you're still throwing guys out there. You're sitting here now. Now, I will give you that legitimately 4.5 out on Colorado this late in the season, that you're actually in it. I will give you that.
All right, we're in it. Yes, we're in it. Because I wasn't sure until Dan told us that we were in it. But now we know we're in it.
What I'm telling you though is that because they're in it, they're doing so in spite of their management's help. They've got guys out there who are not major leaguers. They're playing routinely at shortstop, third, and first base. Guys who are barely major leaguers.
Yeah, but where do you get people from? You know, the thing that I do think is strange is that I don't know why they don't play JT Realmuto more at first and then put Talise or put AJ Ellis to catch a little more. But where are you going to get people from at this point?
Well, but no, at this point it becomes difficult. But what I'm saying is, isn't it incumbent upon management? Isn't management's job to have some vision about these things? And
I mean, but do they have vision on it? Honestly, like, not to take
They were
a shot
trying
at them,
to sell the team.
but yeah, like
that was more important.
This isn't where their head was at, and like you see some of the contract they signed, they don't really show vision.
I know,
often.
but what I'm saying to you, Guillermo, is they don't deserve your support. They don't merit it, because all of this is a big surprise to
But
them.
the players do. The players deserve the support because they're playing well.
Yes.
They are.
Yes, do it for the players.
Yep.
They have no say in this.
I'm not doing this for Mr. Loria. This is for Stanton. Always believed in him.
The part that's frustrating to me as I ask you about it, though, is because 4.5 out in late August is in the mix. You got to help your team, man. Like, how did they help them? They traded pieces of the bullpen.
Right.
They traded Ramos and Phelps, and one of those guys went to the Mets who aren't in it either.
But I think they probably were looking at some of the things that everyone was looking at the time. At the time of the deadline. No one saw 15 of 18 coming. I think it's 15 of 18
I know,
right now.
but Stugotz, what I'm telling you, of course nobody saw the winning streak coming, even though they were bad teams.
Right.
What I'm telling you is that that's management's job.
You're
it's
right.
fine for us not to see it.
Yep.
Well, earlier in the season,
Are these people ever right? Are these people ever right about when they think they're close, they're actually close? I'm dead serious about this. Over the last 10 years, when have they been right? When they are buyers, they're wrong. When they're sellers, they're wrong. Like, all of it, it's a pleasant enough surprise, but it's their job to not be surprised.
Well, I think with hindsight, you can give them credit for at least realizing their mistakes 1 year into that new ballpark, and they made a bunch of they got rid of a bunch of guys who have done nothing since they got rid of them.
I'm not giving them credit for that. They alienated the fan base.
Listen, man, they corrected a mistake. I'm reaching. I'm looking for something, man.
They pulled the plug early on them, too.
It's just having money, that 1 year free agency, and then they go and get Burley and Reyes and everybody else the 1 year of whatever was available in free agency.
That wasn't a normal situation. Loria had to write a letter that showed up in the Miami Herald trying to explain his decision-making when it came to that. A lot of people felt betrayed. I stopped watching them at that point.
I think the funny thing, to your point of not knowing, like making the wrong moves, basically, is they told us that the strength of this team was going to be the bullpen, and they just threw a lot of money at just relievers and assumed it'd be great. And the first trade of the year was they traded away Echeverria, who was decent at shortstop, and now that's another big hole that we have. Like, those are the moves that they made to try to make the team better.
Well, let me ask you this question. Were the Phelps and Ramos things because they've got those 100-mile-an-hour guys in the bullpen? Is it because they've got that Ellington guy who comes out there yesterday? I don't know how anybody's going to hit that guy in 3 years if he figures out how to throw strikes. That guy's throwing 102 miles an hour, and everybody was pelting it this weekend, but because he doesn't know where the ball's going. Is that the reason that they got rid of Phelps and
I think Ramos, I could be wrong, but I think it's an arbitration year, and I think they're going to have to pay him. So they figured, we're not in it, so we could get rid of him.
But it wasn't, what I'm asking you, I guess, is Phelps and Ramos weren't traded because that whole bear claw, the two guys that they have in Ellington and
Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus. How do you pronounce his name?
Bearclaw. See Stegosaurus? It's pretty good. Steckenrider? Stegosaurus. Yeah.
Stecky.
What kind of odds do you guys want? Do you guys want to bet? You guys want to wager that the Marlins aren't going to make the playoffs?
Oh, make the playoffs?
Well, yeah, be a wild card.
Let's see. Hold on, let me check this out. They got Washington. They've got, Atlanta, Colorado, San Francisco, the Mets, Philadelphia, San Diego. I think I'm ready to engage, Dan. You guys ready to engage, Dan, on some sort of bet here?
Well, look, the schedule's favorable because they're a game behind the Brewers. They play the Brewers in 2 weeks down here. I'm sure it's going to be a sold-out game all weekend. Sold out. Then, last week of the season, they play the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. Then they have 4 games against the Braves. Dan, print the tickets now.
Guillermo, I'll tell you what I was wrong about, and there can be no disputing it now. Like, I don't understand how Stanton fixed his season. That guy, I was asking 3 months ago, why would anybody ever throw that guy a strike? Because they were getting him to swing at so much crud on the outside corner. But now, not only is he hitting, the thing is, I know many of you are excited about the 50 home runs, and guys who hit the ball a long way get a lot of the attention. But to me, what I've noticed about Stanton is his plate discipline's a lot better. He's striking out a lot less, and he's hitting for average. Like, it's not just that he's hitting home runs. It's that he's hitting all the places offensively that you want him to hit.
And he's walking a lot.
Yes, plate discipline, yes.
You know, this thing that's strange about that is that I think if you had an honest conversation like 2 months ago, it was a foregone conclusion that they're going to try to move him this offseason. I would think, right? Because they're trying to dump that money. But now, can they? Like, realists, can they? Can a new ownership group come in and trade the franchise player in the first offseason?
That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Although
to watch.
You'll never get more for Stanton than you would right now if you did trade him.
His trade value is the highest it's ever been, but how can you?
Well, that's such a hard one because
it's tough.
Their minor leagues are so bad. Like, usually, if you're bad for a while in the minor leagues, you get to be the Astros or you get to be the Yankees. They've been bad at the minor leagues and barren for a decade, and they haven't done anything to fix their barren minor league.
But if he's this, man, if this is what Stanton is when he's healthy.
I know, but Stugotz, I don't understand the finances of it enough to understand how it is that Laurie is losing money and how it is that Stephen Ross is sitting here saying $1.2 billion is too much to play for the Marlins, and the reports are that Jeter's going to strip it down, that he has to because of budgetary reasons.
What's kind of a bummer is that going kind of unnoticed is Ozuna's also having a monster year, and no one's really talking about it, and I think he is going to get moved because he's cheap, and he's someone that you can get something back for. I mean, he has over 30 home runs and 100 RBI.
Their
so much
offense,
left in the season.
The 5 guys, the 5 of them, Bohr, Realmuto, Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton, they deserve a better pitching staff, and they deserve 4 other guys in that lineup who are major leaguers. Because those guys are the ones carrying everything here. It's the 5 guys offensively. They deserve better than what they get from their leadership.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Don Le Batard. God, what a game. Definitively know who's better.
Wait a minute, what's that music?
I'm not sure.
It's happy music.
It's a happy piano. Like, what just happened back there?
Someone fire off a spot or something? Stugotz. Wait, hang on. I got another browser open. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an ad for cookies. I gotta get this here Mozilla. Firefox. Deny pop-up block.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
My bad in the previous discussion. I forgot about D. Gordon. I shouldn't have done that. He is obviously a major leaguer. I was thinking of the power guys. So
right.
My mistake. Regardless, I do find funny that when they're not close, they get Carlos Lee and Nick Johnson. And when they are close, they don't get anybody. And one of the things to break your heart all over again, and it's low on the list, but gosh, if this team had Jose Fernandez.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be different. It would just, all of it would feel so different because you'd have a power arm at the top of the rotation that you would put up against anybody. You would say, that's as good. Nobody's got better than us on that day. And you've got the guy in baseball who's hitting the ball better than anybody's hitting the ball over the last 2 months.
You would have the likely NL MVP, and you would have a guy that you would say, yeah, our number one is as good, if not better, than your number one. And I'm including Clayton Kershaw.
But we're sitting here, and he wasn't better than Clayton Kershaw because Kershaw over 5 years had an ERA of under 2. So he's not better than Kershaw, but that's it. That's the list. Kershaw was the only guy. And so you talk about the Marlins having bad injury luck. There ain't nothing worse than the injury luck of that guy. There ain't nothing worse than the injury luck of that guy dying.
Right. I'll believe in Kershaw when he does it in October. Until then, he's just okay.
All right, fine.
Thanks.
Sneak that in there real quick.
Yep.
It seems like Dan conceded there.
He did.
But, I mean, yes, that's true, and it's sad. But, I mean, this is still a fun team. Like, this is a fun time. Like, are they going to win the World Series? Probably not. But you can still enjoy this while it's happening.
For sure.
You know?
Yep, you can. They're giving you baseball games that matter.
Yep.
And so while I don't think they're going to catch Colorado, and I would like to see a bet on this, whatever you guys decide, you guys should get some sort of value odds because they're not likely. Colorado's better than they are. Not only just 4.5 games up, but Colorado's run differential. The Marlins have been outscored this year, right? The Marlins are Tampa. The Marlins are the Angels. That's who they are.
They're -6.
They've been outscored this season.
Right. The Angels -2. So the Rays -11. They've been outscored.
But that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is who you are is the Rays and the Angels. That's who you are. Now, the Rays are under 500, right? They're a couple of games under 500?
The Rays are 65 and 67.
And the Angels are a couple of games over 500 or one game over 500?
66, 65.
Yeah, that's who you are. So,
but we're surging.
Yeah,
at the right time.
We're the Rays and Angels. Maybe we'll give you that for now, Dan.
For now.
We're on the uptick.
Okay.
Yep.
Guy writes in, did you guys see the cocaine guy on Saturday? Well, funny you should mention that. Because it's the only thing Mike Ryan sent me from the fight was the Instagram of just a random guy near the octagon who was deep, deep in the sunken place.
Boxing ring.
That's right. Excuse me. The boxing ring.
Is that a fine?
That's not a fine.
He called the boxing ring an octagon.
It was an octagon when McGregor was forgetting the rules and rabbit punching Mayweather. That was so amateur. We'll get to the fight in a second because you guys who lowered your expectations to such a place that you were delighted by the fight make me angry.
Man.
Delighted.
What
Kidding me?
Spectacle.
Amazing.
What a spectacle.
So much fun. Yep.
It's a bad fight now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He's going to tell me something that was good was bad.
Oh, geez.
Listen,
You're going to be that guy that you've railed against when you're just wrong about something. Come out and say you were wrong. And collectively, most of us were very wrong about what Saturday night turned out to be.
A good fight is like pornography. You know it when you see it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, that one's we're gonna argue all show about this one.
Oh, great. Quick question, Dan. Quick question, Dan. Who won the first round?
Yeah.
Who won the first round?
On your scorecard, your personal
On
scorecard.
your scorecard, who won the first round?
McGregor won the first.
Yes. That's what I had too.
Victory. Matches my scorecard as well.
Yes, yeah.
Second round? What'd you have in the second?
I said Conor McGregor won the first couple of rounds.
Oh, wow.
The first couple of rounds on two incredibly inactive rounds. But hold on, I don't want to waste what we've got to say about this because I actually didn't intend to come in here and argue with you guys about whether you enjoyed the fight. But now we're going to argue. Now we're going to argue.
Yeah, tell me how I didn't have fun.
Yeah. Well, no, but what I am going to do is
because I was there and you weren't.
Right. No, but what I am going to do. What do you mean you were there? What?
Well, you're going to tell me how I didn't have fun, and I'm telling you, in my living room, I was there and you weren't, and I was having fun.
Brace yourself. Hot take coming.
No. Better than that. Better than the hot take coming. All of you who enjoyed it are ignorant to what it is that you're watching.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you don't know what you're watching. You're ignorant, all of you. I'm going to argue with all of you. Anyone who enjoyed that fight, you're ignorant.
Don Le Batard.
Would you mind if the new owners of the Marlins knocked down that statue in center field?
It's obviously an eyesore, but it's gotten to the point that it's, our eyesore.
Really? You guys have gotten there.
It's something that we all laugh at together.
Yes,
it's so bad that it's become good.
You wouldn't go to New York and take away the apple, Dan. Come on.
Stugotz.
Would you guys look at a lot of other things and describe it that way? It's something that I mock, but it's something that is in the middle of my city, so therefore I'm proud of it and don't want it removed.
Pitbull.
Okay, you win.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Texter writes in, leave it to Dan to call everyone ignorant for enjoying a fight that he didn't enjoy. Pretty soon he'll be calling everyone that's happy ignorant simply because he isn't. I'm not actually going to argue with you about whether you enjoyed that fight. I am going to argue with you about whether it was a good fight. So you can enjoy the slop if you want. That's fine. But don't tell me it wasn't slop. So we will get to that in a little bit. But no, you can enjoy whatever you want. You want to enjoy that?
Well, thank you.
Feel free to enjoy it. But just because you don't know anything about boxing, Floyd Mayweather, I hated seeing him fight that way.
Oh, man.
I know you guys are laughing at me because I said during the break I wanted to
really
save.
Got that in there.
I wanted to save the fighting talk for. I don't want to.
So bad. Here.
Actually, do you have the blow? Do you have the blow your load interview that Mayweather did with Sal Palantonio?
Yeah.
All right, let's just.
That was a good setup.
Yeah, I think that sentence. I tried to time it out yesterday. I think that sentence was said. That phrase was uttered 3 times in a 12-second span.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think someone said, Guillermo, put on the poll, did Sal Palantonio have to have a meeting at ESPN after this?
Think of the way Conor McGregor approached the fight at the beginning. That was our game plan. Our game plan was to take our time, to take one round at a time, let him shoot his low, and then down the stretch do what we do best. When did you think that the fight was starting to turn when he had shot his load and you could come at him?
When he started shooting his low in the first half of the fight, and then in the second half we started coming on extremely strong.
So put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did Sal and Palantonio have to have a meeting?
4th graders, man, I'm telling you.
Well,
you see Sal smiling after he realized.
Do you think you're allowed to say that? Do you think you're allowed to say that?
Beautiful smile. Gorgeous smile.
Yes, beautiful. He has beautiful tiles. What do you guys want to discuss about the Dolphins? Jarvis Landry, reports came out that they were looking to trade him. The Dolphins deny that they're looking to trade him. It would make sense if the Dolphins were looking to trade him. How do you feel about the fact that Gase retained a lot of their players? That seems to be what it is that most teams do in free agency. They retain the guys who weren't quite good enough. Right? Like that's yes. Jarvis Landry must be looking around and being like, wait a minute, you guys are going to retain everyone else? You guys are going to retain Kenny Stills, but you're not going to pay me?
Jarvis, but he should realize and know the business well enough to know that maybe he's just not his position is not as valuable as some of the other positions that they're keeping. Wide receivers, You could find wide receivers. It's hard to find some of these other guys.
I know, but they paid Stills.
I know.
And the one who actually produced here, on the entire team, the one who produced last year on the entire offense, it was Jarvis Landry. Wasn't he the only one?
I mean,
you could say Ajayi, too.
Ajayi was good. I mean, he had 94 catches, under 1,200 yards at 4
Their
touchdowns.
most productive offensive player last year was Jarvis Landry for the entire year.
He played all 16 games, so yeah, I guess you're right.
I guess for the entire season.
Right, because Ajayi's
came
on the second half. Yes, it was big, but it was the second half of the season.
Well, it was 3 200-yard games as well for Ajayi.
But I'm saying, so Jarvis Landry's looking at this. It is a fairly amazing thing to say because we've been talking about this for 2 years, and you guys get very mad at me when I tell you that Jarvis Landry's not a number one and that I wouldn't mind them letting him go. Because I believe you can get a lot of guys to go and do what Jarvis Landry did, where you're sort of the focal point of a limited offense, catching 6-yard passes at a time.
Right.
Like, I feel like you can get a lot of people to do that, and they know that, and that's why you have in play what you have now, which is Jarvis Landry saying, no, give me my money, and the Dolphins say,
Don't you think the NFL knows that, though? That a guy like Jarvis Landry is easy. I don't want to say easy, because that's not giving enough respect to Jarvis Landry in the season that he had last year and really the last 2 years. But don't you think the NFL teams know, hey, that guy's kind of easy to go get?
Well, here's what I would say to you. Did you have any idea that Olivier Vernon was this good?
No.
Did you have any idea that Olivier Vernon was going to get paid like that?
No.
And somebody gave Olivier Vernon that kind of money. And that's when the Dolphins threw up their hands. And pass rushers are hard to come by.
Right.
And Olivier Vernon was good for them. When he was playing opposite Cam Wake, he was good for them. But so it only takes one team to need a wide receiver to say that I think Jarvis Landry is the wide receiver that I need. And then where are you? You lose Jarvis Landry. And should lose Jarvis Landry. Because when Gase got here, one of the things Gase noticed upon getting here, I think I've told you guys this story. So Gase is choosing from among bad options. And the best of the bad options is Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. I'll work with Ryan Tannehill as my quarterback. And then he gets here and he realized, bleep, all our good players are signed to contracts that are going to make them too expensive soon. Vernon being among them.
Right.
And he's like, we're not going to be able to re-sign Vernon. Vernon's a good player, and we're going to have to let him go. And the same's going to happen I think the same's going to happen with Jarvis Landry. Maybe it doesn't, but I think ultimately Jarvis Landry is going to ask for too much money to stay here.
Someone's going to pay him. And just because someone pays him doesn't necessarily mean they're overpaying. There might be a good team that's a Jarvis Landry away. He's got a very specific skill set that could fit into a lot of competitive teams and their offense.
He's a good player.
You don't think he can help, like Carolina, for instance?
Oh, no,
That'd
he's
be
a great player.
No, Mike, he can. He absolutely can.
To me, the difference in a salary cap sport, it's not having a lot of good players, it's having a lot of good values. He's a good player right now who's a good value. He's about to stop being a good value.
Right.
He's about to be a player that you're going to have to compensate. So I would tend to believe the reports over what it is the Dolphins are saying. I would tend to believe reports because you want to get something for Jarvis Landry this year if you know you're going to lose him next year so that you don't have the same situation happen to you that happened with Olivier Vernon.
Right. You absolutely do. He was 10th in yardage last year. I just don't know what you'll get for him. I don't know if it's worth it. Like, whatever you're going to get back for Jarvis Landry, if it'd be worth it too.
No, but it's going to be more than you'd get in a year.
You get nothing in a year. I understand that. But teams know that, don't you think? So they're going to be inclined to give.
But who needs it?
Well, the Patriots need it. How about the Dolphins trade him to the Patriots because they lost Edelman over the weekend? Do that. I dare you.
The Patriots don't trade for things that aren't value.
Right.
The Patriots don't do that. They're not going to give you much of anything for him, are they?
I can't imagine that they would.
Did they give him a 1 and a 2 or 2 2s for Welker? What did they give up for Welker? I remember when they traded for Welker, everybody was like, what the hell are the Patriots doing? They gave up too much. And it's because the Patriots knew that they could turn Wes Welker into that. Wes Welker had 1 touchdown catch when he was a Miami Dolphin, and now he's almost a Hall of Fame possession receiver based on what he did in New England.
The Patriots sent, I'm sorry, Mike, they sent a 2nd and a 7th round pick to the Dolphins.
Yeah, he had, since he was a restricted free agent, they signed him to a 2nd round tender.
But I remember people wondering whether that was too much. Like, what do the Patriots know? Because they so rarely give up a 2nd round pick.
Right. And then right after the trade, they agreed to a 5-year, $18 million contract with Wes Welker.
Mike, didn't they get Randy Moss for a 4th round pick?
I think it was a 3rd. I'll check, though.
The Patriots don't usually give you very much. You're right. The Patriots, for those of you who don't know, Edelman is out. He has a torn ACL, and so Edelman is out, and the Patriots need somebody to do what Edelman did because they've always got somebody doing what Edelman did. Before Edelman did it, Welker was the one doing it.
It was a fourth-round pick. They're so annoying. A fourth-round pick. The guy had one of the greatest seasons in NFL history.
But I just remember that happening where it was like, wait a minute, the Patriots gave up a fourth for Randy Moss. Wait, they just gave up a second and a seventh for Wes Welker, a guy who's got one touchdown as a Miami Dolphin? Like, what the hell do the Patriots know?
And then when Moss was clearly washed, they sent him to Minnesota and got a third-round pick for him.
Right, of course.
Unreal.
But you understand what I'm saying. Let's do it this way, right? We talked last year, and we did the math, and there was not a guy on the Patriots roster who did not represent value. Gronkowski, underpaid. Tom Brady, underpaid. Everyone on their roster was a value. Who on the Miami Dolphins roster do you look at and say, that's value? Because Jarvis Landry's one.
Well, Jay Ajayi.
And Jay Ajayi is another. And now where are you? Keep going.
Well, Devontae Parker's
on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, but we don't know. I mean,
but it was a first-round pick and a high
but
pick.
we don't know what we're going to get from him. But
he hasn't shown that he can
the upside's worth whatever amount of money.
Wait. We haven't seen anything from him that would suggest that he's on a value contract.
We've seen
right
flashes.
now. But he's been overpaid, is what I'm saying. He's made more money than his production. He's been overpaid. So while he may be very good this year, and while I expect him to be very good this year, and while I expect him to be a value, you can't say right now that he's a value. So who are the guys on the Dolphin roster? Because to me, this is important.
I mean, Tunsil, is he good? Because you have him, I think, still on the rookie contract, right?
Well, but we don't know how good he is. He was pretty good last year.
Okay. I mean, I'm reaching here. I'm just trying to give you some guys. Like Jawan James, is he still on that?
My point stands. They don't have enough guys where you immediately say the key in a salary cap league is to have a bunch of players. Hell, Seattle's been dominant for 5 years because they had value at quarterback. They were able to pay everywhere else because they had Russell Wilson playing for nothing.
What's Wake's salary right now? A lot of people texting in Cameron Wake.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's value because he's so old. That's probably right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So
Sue's not value, though, right?
No, he is not.
No,
he is.
No.
Sue is a very good player who you are overpaying to be very good.
Julius Thomas did restructure his deal, but it's still a pretty hefty sum, not necessarily value.
I think Wake's at $8 million, like just north of $8 million.
Right,
That's pretty good value
yes,
right there.
But my largest point is when you are in a salary capped league where you don't have economic advantages over your opponent, you cannot be in a division with a team that has value at every position and you've got value at 4. Like that's how the last 15 years is going to happen in the AFC East. Like that's the way that one works because I could do it with the Bills and the Jets too. I could do it with the Bills and the Jets where am I getting more production than I'm paying for? Like but that's the formula though. When you ask how is it that the Patriots are able to do what it is that they are able to do, while many of us find it a mystery, and it is a mystery because I don't know how they could turn your Wes Welker into their Wes Welker or your Rob Ninkovich, because the Dolphins had Rob Ninkovich, into their Rob Ninkovich. Like, I don't know how they do that part, but when they do it, what they end up doing is they end up getting a production that is valuable for their cost.
Yes.
Like they are getting discounted value, and the Dolphins are doing very little of that. And so if you believe that the winning is in the margins in a salary cap sports, Stugotz, that's a pretty giant place to have an advantage, where our players, for what we're paying them, are more valuable than your players using the same money in a salary cap league for what you're paying them. Like that's how you tilt everything. That's how you tilt the entire sport in your favor. All of our guys are going to be valued. That's the Moneyball theory. That is what Billy Beane was doing in baseball.
They don't seem to put a premium on running backs and wide receivers for whatever reason. They just don't.
They don't seem to put a premium on anything.
Brady.
On anything.
Right.
Well, they got Brady. They got stability at that position, and then they don't seem to put a premium on anything else.
But, I mean, they'll let LeGarrette Blount go, and, okay, you pay him a lot of money based off of what he did here for us, and he had a great year last year, and we'll replace him with Mike Gillisley, whatever his name is.
You didn't get that right.
It doesn't matter what his name is. It could be anyone. Rex Burkhead, and he's going to have the same season as Blount had last year.
LeGarrette Blount had, 18 touchdowns last year? Was it 18?
I believe so, yeah.
The Dolphins have had, obviously, you have the Ryan Tannehill injury, but so many injuries to crucial parts of their team. I'm not sure how much you were expecting from Koamisi, but you also had your starting middle linebacker go down, a couple injuries in the secondary. But they got a bunch of players that I didn't even know were on the team. Alterron Werner has a shot to start. He was a really good corner, and then he signed a huge deal at Tampa and was not as good. Ray Maualuga is now... I was reading a funny story with Maualuga. He was trying to get the number 58, but he can't because Jay Cutler set such a high watermark when he bought number 6, so he's been priced out. Maualuga's had a very long career in this league. Can't get it from an undrafted rookie.
Well, can get it, just needs to pay for it.
He just doesn't want to pay for it. He doesn't have Cutler money.
Cutler came in and paid how much for the number 6?
They're being very secretive, but apparently it's too rich for Ray Maualuga's blood.
Texture writes in, Dan is the therapist you go to who makes you feel horrible about yourself.
Are there therapists that do that?
I don't think, not good ones. That's supposed to be a non-judgment space. There is not a good, no good therapist make you feel horrible about yourself.
You're a mess.
Yes, like that's not that's not the way that profession is supposed to work. But what was I pooping on there? I was just talking about. Oh, was it value?
It was value. It was Patriots' value compared to.
There's no disputing it, right?
Patriots' value compared to any team's
value.
Well,
but just like this, the Patriots' secret is this. What did they pay LeGarrette Blount for 18 touchdowns? Go ahead and look up his salary. Tell me what
he had 18 last.
Here is the Patriots' secret in a capsule in 140 characters. What did they pay LeGarrette Blount for 18 touchdowns last season? Combine the 3 non-quarterbacks on the Dolphins and tell me if you get to 18 touchdowns. The 3 top touchdown getters for the Miami Dolphins. Do you arrive at 18? If you combine Ajayi, Jarvis Landry, and I don't even know who would be third, Stills?
In 2016, he had a base salary of $700,000.
18 touchdowns.
You got to remember, though, they had Blount on their team. He signed a free agent deal.
Right.
He got cut, and the Patriots came right back.
Right. He got cut because he was smoking. Meth and Redman were smoking for the Steelers. Right, okay, so you're paying 18 touchdowns. You're paying $700,000 with the Patriots. Now give me the top 3 touchdown getters for the Miami Dolphins last year. Who were the 3 Dolphins who scored more touchdowns than anybody?
All right, give us a sec here.
All right.
I mean, this is just tremendous.
I don't know who's going to be third, though. Who's going to be the third Dolphin? Because it's going to be Landry with 6. It's going to be Ajayi.
Ajayi had 8.
Ajayi had 8 rushing touchdowns.
So Landry had 4.
4 touchdowns? I thought he had 6. Okay, so now
Kenny Stills had 9 touchdowns.
All right, there you go. Way to go, Kenny Stills. Woohoo! So you were able. Kenny Stills was value last year. There's one. You could give Kenny Stills value last year. He's no longer value because you had to pay him. That's another one. So Ajayi, Stills. I guess Tannehill would probably not value, but just.
I kind of get the feeling the Patriots are just waiting for the Eagles to cut Blount so they can get him again on a value.
They are.
Yeah. Or just for anybody to get cut, right? I mean, this was an actual thing that happened. They had a guy who was working stand-up comedy who came on our show. I forget his name. Is it Gray? Gray?
Jonas Gray, yeah. Cover of Sports Illustrated.
All right. So, is it Jonas Gray?
Yes. It's Jonas Gray,
okay, because I just made him Jonah Gray, which is a totally different running back.
Yeah. That is good.
Are there black Jonas?
Huh.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Are there black Jonas at Le Batard Show?
Johan Santana. That's a Johan.
That's a Jonah. Dyslexic? Are you dyslexic?
Oh, yeah, I am
Johan,
dyslexic.
Jonah? What are you doing?
Well, is that the translation?
No, Johan is not Jonah. No. What are you doing?
Dyslexia is probably what I'm doing there.
That guy was a stand-up comic and then scored 4 touchdowns in a game and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and then we never heard from him again.
He was late to a film session the following week after the 4 touchdowns, and they told him to beat it.
The basketball player who's black, Jonah Bolden.
Hold on a second. I want you guys to absorb what Stugotz just said there because it's so shocking, and yet they've been doing it for 15 years. They discovered a guy who scored 4 touchdowns in a game. He had been working in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
They put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was late for a meeting. And they immediately cut him and got another guy for $700,000.